Good, looking good.
Okay, so we're going to do a very quick little tutorial tonight on a plain white canvas. And as you can see, I've already got my Bob Ross liquid white all over the canvas. You have to scrub in every single part and make sure that we've got enough paint across all four corners. They should be just about the same. You can see it's not a glob of paint. There's not anything crazy up there. And like I said, I was going to do this one. I'm giving myself 24 minutes to do this Seascape painting. So we're gonna hit the button and then we're gonna get started. Are you guys ready to go? 24 minutes, let's start now. There we go, perfect. Now we're gonna go through the colors that we have. We have our 16 by 20 inch canvas already pre-covered in our liquid white. We're gonna be using our dioxazine purple, phthalo green, maybe some sap green, maybe some yellow ochre, our Van Dyke brown, dark sienna brown, Prussian blue, alizarin crimson, midnight black, titanium white. Now, first thing we're gonna wanna do is get a little bit of that Prussian blue paint, or your ultramarine blue, whatever color blue you got. We're just gonna spread it across our canvas and let it blend down, maybe about halfway. We don't need to go too much further than that. And as you can tell, the paint likes to spread across this canvas nice and evenly if it's got a wet surface to blend on, right? Which is why we have that wet paint up there, right? Now let's take a little bit of our black as well. A little touch of black, a little touch of our purple color. And let's decide, maybe this side is our darker part of our sky. So we'll just put a little bit of that darkness underneath there, blend it out underneath. And then we need a nice clean, dry brush if we're going to do any blending of our sky. We can't have a nice dirty brush like that. So instead of cleaning it, let's get up here with a brand new one. We're gonna start into our lightest color of our paint, which is that empty area, and we're just going to start to crisscross. The more that we crisscross, the more it's going to drag that paint and let it blend, and we're just crisscross strokes back and forth, grabbing the paint, spreading it out. And as you can see, it starts to blend away into these nice different little hues, and all I need you guys to do is tell me where you're watching from, just from around the world. Where are you from? I always like knowing where people are watching from all over the place, right? The more heavy the paint is, the more you've got to push on it and spread it out in order to get it to grow across your canvas, right? These paints are very heavy, they're very thick paints, and that way it takes a little bit of pressure to get them to move and slide and blend. Now let's cover the edges of our canvas, even though Bob never did this in his shows, because it takes up about 30 seconds to do. You don't have to do it all, but just like that, right? Let our paint blend down, become softer and softer and softer. Now let's come up here with a white, with a bit of fan brush and a bit of white paint. And as we go across all of this color out here, it's going to want to change the color of our fan brush. See it turning blue like that? So in mid-cloud, we've got to turn it and rotate and then dump as much of the paint off of the brush and onto the canvas as possible. You don't want to have a whole lot out there. You need it to be about 1 inch big, right? So about 2 fingers worth of paint. Come out here with a 1-inch brush and start to mix it up. And the more that we mix it up and pull it downwards, blending it in with that sky, making it harder to tell where the bottom of the cloud is and where the sky begins. We're very light-handed along the top because there's lots of thick paint up there along the top. And the more that we get down here, the more we can push and extend, pushing into the canvas, right? We're constantly adjusting our pressure back and forth and back and forth. And that way it's never just this one steamroll effect all the way through our clouds, right? Mix them up out there, make them look weird, make them look odd. That's what they're supposed to look like. Now let's come in here and grab a little bit of our blue, a little bit of our black as well. Don't have too much black. And let's do the hardest thing known to man, which is paint a straight horizontal line just right back here. And on the first go, it's probably not going to be so straight. So don't judge my ability as an artist. Paint this one straight line. We're going to blend that blue and black paint. See, it's very dark. That very dark color is going to look like very dark ocean water against the back. So we brought it down to that very light bit of blue sky. And now we're bringing our darker color to match that sky. Right? And then you got your little straight line across, and just in literally 4 minutes, we're almost already halfway done, you guys. Let's take that same brush, dab it off on a paper towel once or twice. Grab some of our phthalo green, maybe a touch of sap green too, just a little bit. Oh, just a little though. All right, we're gonna come in here. Oh, that's gonna be a pretty color. Blend it out, right? Making it a little bit bigger on this side and a little bit skinnier on this side. So we're working these angles down in there like that. Now, Doesn't matter how much you put on there, even if you blend it all the way down here, because we're gonna come back in with our browns, our Van Dyke brown and our dark Sienna brown. We're gonna blend them together on the brush. Don't wanna have too much paint, right? Mix it, pull it from each edge. Try to leave a little gap in between. Put this guy up just a little higher up here and let it work down again at opposite angle now. So we got this little bit. Go wash off our brush or switch to your cleaner brush and start mixing your paint together. We're leaving these empty gaps so it will grow together and blend. Now, the more that you blend it, the harder it's going to be to see any differences or do anything out there, right? So as we get out here and we push and blend on the paint until we like it, knowing that we're gonna speckle over some things anyway, so it doesn't really matter what's going on out there. And if anything, let's bring our dark side in there, just a little touch. Just like that, seriously, bang. Okay, now, let's come back out here. We're gonna grab our palette tool, pull down on our titanium white, just like we're trying to wipe off the blade. Come in here, scrape up a little bit. Let's rock it out this way, starting below our horizon, just making a very flat line that's going down at a slight downward angle. We don't need anything to be too crazy. And all we're trying to do is get some white to drop off out there and look weird, look odd. Nothing out there has to be perfect. It's some far away oceany water, right? Now, we're going to change our angle just a little bit. Right? Kind of pick it up right there, drop it down. Now we've got a new little angle. Remember, it's not a crazy steep thing, but it is a little bit more steep than the one in the back. We'll come up here, kind of kiss the front edge and drag some of that white back off. Let it blend in with the color that's already there, okay? Now what we're gonna do is give ourselves about a finger's worth of space over here and about 2 fingers worth of space over here. Before we come back, we scrape up a little bit more of that white. You know, imagine up here, maybe it's gonna make a little thing just like that, just kind of touching and pulling away, touch and pull away, touch and pull away. Make this little downward angle, a little wave length of a shape. Wipe off our blade, come back up here, very light pull. A little bit longer pull, longer pull, longer pull, longer pull, changing directions, moving, 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 right? The first one was down, then it's a little bit over, then it's a little bit over, over, over each time. Remember, you don't have to paint too much of this because nobody's gonna see it out there. It's gonna take our white, come back up in here. Remember to leave a gap, leave some distance in between them, and we're just brightening up that area with a little touch of white on our fan brush, right? It's gonna make it look more like the eye of our wave. Now, you can get up there and blend it as well, all up to you what you want it to be, right? Just don't have them looking exactly the same. And then we'll come back over here with our liquid white. Now, the liquid white is that same stuff that we put on the canvas, and I do have tutorials that show you how to do that. Literally every single step tutorials that show you how to do every single step. And let's take one little touch right in between this guy, right there. That's it, right there, right? That's it. Oh, let's go put a rock back in here too. We're gonna do all kinds of crazy stuff that we can do in 24 minutes. It's only been 8 so far. So let's come back in here like this with our white paint. And kind of tap at it and fill the gap that's in between, splashing up into our water, just smacking at the canvas. Boom, 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 right? The more liquid white that you have in your mix, the wetter the paint is going to be, right? So if you need to, go back, make it a little bit more wet, come back in here, there. See how it's popping off the canvas like that? Little crazy little things. Then we're gonna go back and we're gonna blend it out with that same brush, just dabbing it off on a paper towel, come back in here, and you gotta mix it so stinking lightly though, because this stuff wants to blend away with all the other color that's in there, which is why we go back, we get a little bit more of our liquid white, we come back in here and we do it up again. Come back in, smack on a couple more things, drop in a little bit more paint, and then when we go to mix it out, are we going to mix it the same or are we going to mix it less, right? What are we going to do? Keeping in mind our angles are most important, guys. Remember, angles, angles, angles. Mix it less, exactly. That way it doesn't all look exactly the same, okay? Now, wherever we had ended over here with our little wave action as it was floating down this way, filling up our spot, we're going to make a straight line all the way across, take that liquidy white, titanium white mix, drop it in there and start cutting it back into your wave. And as you go down, we get lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, right? Each time just pushing harder and harder and harder on the blade to drop the paint off, right? These two angles are parallel, very easy to follow along with and not get lost. Let's come back in here, one more little bit of our liquid white, titanium white mix. You can get a little bit more of that liquidy white so we can make sure it actually deposits, right? Come back in here, scrape it, just push hard, get that stuff to come off, right? We don't need it all to be as bright everywhere, but we do need it to come off of the blade. And when it's very wet, it's kind of hard to get off the blade. Gravity tries to force it down the other way. Let's start working in, making these little guys very tight, just straight up into the wave, right? Leave our little dark area down here, even though it's like phthalo green, we're still gonna call it our dark area. And as we get out here, we're gonna pull less and less vertically and more to the side, right? So our little thing works like a clock. As we get in here, each of these little things is changing angle, just like a clock would. Very cool. Dragging it up. However far we want it to go is exactly how it's gonna look, okay? Now, let's take a little bit more of that guy, fill in this area back here, and we can come back and clean up our line, or extend it, or do whatever we want to do to it. Make it a little more nuts, make it a little more odd. Very cool, very easy. Scrape it in, deposit it, and then just let it be. Forget about it. Now, let's see, we got 13 minutes left. Let's come back over here, get some of our black, crimson, and blue, and we probably should have done this before, but we're gonna come back and do it now, see if we can't sneak it in back there. Take some of both of our brown mixes in a fair amount, put them inside of your black mix to make paint the trash black, with a B, exactly, B-R-A-C-K, it's like a brown, black color. Okay, now we're gonna wipe off our blade, we're gonna come back over here and see what we can get up to if we had just something enormous out there, just a weird, just a thing. Bang, straight down in here, remove the paint, make it odd, don't have it just be this perfect little triangle out there, right? Have some different bits, different thing. You can already see how brown it is just from the darkness that we put in that paint. All right, so look here, drag it down. Yes, it's okay. We can have a couple little shadows in there. We're gonna pull it down on this one side, we're gonna drag it off in a different direction on this other side. And then we can decide how we want it to look out there, right? Do I want to come back in with my titanium white and my liquid white mix and kind of clean up those edges back there? What do I feel like doing with my little scene? Do I start up a little higher? Do I go down a little lower and then go up a little higher again, creating this look that it's a little bit closer in some areas than it is in others? It's all up to us. Right? We're in control. What's going on back there? We're in control. More of our stuff, little bits floating on top of the water. You don't need to do much, guys, I'm serious. Now, let's come in here, since we have all that crazy dark mix. First, let's come back, let's grab a little bit of our yellow ochre and a little bit of our lighter color brown, just to make a bright kind of goldish brown color. All of our light's coming from this side, so on this side of our little hill, we can decide where we want to put this stuff, this paint. And let it just flow down, and let it get weird, right? It's not supposed to just be perfect. We want it to be odd, strange, so let it get weird. Take a little bit of that just straight up brown darkness, just so we can have the same amount of texture back there. You know what I mean? It's nothing too much. You don't have to focus on it. It's the main goal. Like I said, we should have done it before we put in our water, but we're moving like crazy fast. We still got 11 and a half minutes, so let's make some more. Let's go into this guy, come up into here. Oh, I can already see, you know what we should probably do? Let's do our water first. Okay, wipe this guy off. Get our liquid white, lots of liquid white, a little bit of titanium white, mix them together. It's like a 90 to 10 mix. Remember, you guys check in, tell me where you're watching from. What time is it where you are right now? Another appeal, which is fantastic. Great. Just right now, tell me where you're watching from. We're gonna take our liquid white and our titanium white mix, and there's one of two ways you can do this. You can either scrape it underneath, leaving a disconnection, a gap in between, right? Or you can come underneath like this and you can pull it down. Either which way works easiest for you. The only thing that we're trying not to do is let the two colors touch. If the two bits of white touch, then all is lost and everything is ruined. No, I'm just kidding. You can go back and make it look like that again. We'll come back in here very vertically, very lightly, because the liquid white wants to disappear. It wants to blend away very quick, so we have to touch it very light. Light, very light. I'd love to ask, does this look like sand to you guys? Just tell me now, yes or no. Does it look like sand? Maybe so, maybe not. Let's take it and swipe it again with enough force, not to blend it away, but enough force to take away those verticalities. If we can take away those vertical streaks, just like that, very soft, very gentle. Now our only weird looking thing is this big gap in between. So we come back up here with our liquid white and we bring it down, the same paint that's up there already, kind of skirting it back and forth until it comes down, and you just have that littlest of dark shadows in between these two bits of bright paint. That's what you want to have. Come back to that dark, scrape up that big old amount of mix, and let's just go wild. Maybe it was just right into the whole thing. Now look at how this light colored paint is trying to change my dark color to a brighter color. So let's scrape off where we want to put this big old rock right here. And scrape away all the light colored paint that's going to try to change our color over here, right? We'll drop on this whole big bunch of darkness. And the more that we mix it, push it down, we're just trying to spread it out, right? Keeping it dark, meaning there's a lot of paint up there, just like that, right? Boom, boom. Literally, every time we go to touch that lighter color area, you can see all these different things. Now, we need to make it big enough to where we have something we can grip on the other side as well, right? So it's got to come down here, it's got to fill in, it's got to do whatever it wants. Maybe we'll have a whole little buddy next to him too. What if we had this whole little thing just right in there? Yeah, and just fill up that whole space, creating this giant rocky thing that's happening in here. Right? Take this down very lightly in the direction that you want it to flow. Right? We need to have some different flowagings out here. And if you can drag it up versus dragging it down, it won't go down and contaminate your beach. Right? We will need to contaminate the beach at some point, but just not right now. This guy, maybe we slide down this way to meet up over here. We take some of this darkness and we pull it off towards the back. It's all in how we want it to be, guys, right? Whatever we decide it's going to look like is what it's going to look like. Now, let's say we drag this guy out a little bit from his bottoms. Come back in here, pull it down real good. And then we'll come back with our bigger brush, big old 2-inch brush. Right? This one's got barely any paint on it. We can decide, maybe he lives up over here, over there, wherever. Pull it out. Now we've got that slightly darker reflection in our wet, sandy-ish, watery-ish beach. Now let's go back and grab a little touch of our liquid white. We still got 7 minutes, you guys. Literally crazy. Come back up here along the edge of where the bright meets the dark with your liquid white. This is the only time you're allowed to really use pure liquid white because it's so wet. Right? It's literally so viscous that it's like water out there, which is why they call it liquid white. Look at that, guys. A little bit of action. Seriously. What's 24 minutes minus 7? Because that's what we did it in. So what's that, 17 minutes we did this whole thing in? Now, let's come over here. We're going to add some more of this dark color and light color. First thing we're going to do, mix up our 2 brown colors into this dark mix. I'm going to get too much of that green in there. That'll really change the color. There we go. Nice dark shadowy color, which we can then come off the back sides of our cliffs. And it's about the same as the color that's there. I didn't really change it so much except for adding that texture. The texture is where it's going to make it seem like it's close, right? Look at this guy, this whole little shadowy area down here, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Seriously, come back, grab a whole ton of your yellow ochre and a little bit of that brown that we've made. So it's this nice, brighter, goldenish, brownish color. A little bit more there. There we go. Just so it's different, right? It's going to help play off of its own self. Flatten it out, scoop up a little bit, come over here, start launching it in. Again, it should be pretty thick, and we're not pushing on it so hard. Right? We're kind of treating it like a little mountain. We're just kind of float that really thick paint off of the blade and have it attached to the paint that's on there right now. We don't want to cover everything, always, of course. You never want to cover everything. And the more that you put on there, the harder it's going to be to attach to itself. So remember, you have to have some light areas, some dark areas, and retain some of that shadow that our initial dark paint was, right? So we'd put on that initial darkness, right? We're not trying to cover all of that. That would be bad, guys. Don't do that, right? Now, let's take our color from underneath this guy. Pull it down a little bit, maybe go up a little higher, down a little bit again, drag it off the side. Very cool. Now we'll go back and we'll throw in our little sandy bits along the bottom of our guy, which we can do in 5 minutes for sure. Let's grab a real small brush though. And remember, you gotta check in. Tell me where you're watching from out there. And if you wanted to get this painting, you know where to go. We're gonna take a little bit of our plaque mix with our odorless mineral spirits in enough amount that it becomes watery like this. It's very much like watercolor. Look at how, like just how wet it is. See the shininess in it? It's crazy, crazy, okay? We want this darkness, we don't want too much, so make sure there's not too much on your brush. Back up, right, and start flicking very gently until you can start seeing little specks of dark just forming, right? They're just forming out here. And in fact, since we have all that dark paint left, I'm gonna do one more little bit down here. Just like that. Bang, just a little thing. Sort of connect it on to his little friend back there. Make it a little smaller down here. We've got a whole nother projection of rock that we can do, just because I think we've got some time to do it. Slide it down that way, pull it down back this way, meeting it at its little half arc. Right, come back in with that darker color paint, launch it off the back side. There you go. Go back with our lighter colored highlights, scrape it off the front side, changing our angles, doing everything we can do to get it to deposit down and stay thick. Change those angles or sideways, horizontally as well. Okay, now we're gonna go back to our little fan brush. We're gonna go back to our brown mix, right? So you can go straight into your dark sienna brown if you want to do. Just have it be a brown color. Again, with enough liquidity to make it very, very shiny and wet, right? Then again, we're gonna back up, we're gonna start sprinkling it. And the more that we sprinkle it in there, the crazier our sand is gonna start looking, right? But that is not all. Our final bit is that we're gonna come back in with a bit of our liquid white. Right, the liquid white right on the edge. Again, we don't want to have too much in the brush or in the thing. First thing we're going to do is come out here and start sprinkling on water that's casting, that's smacking against our rock, right? Which is why you've got to put it on there first. It's launching itself up into the air. There's some happening back there as well. Right? Just because we can see that little bit of splash, that's amazing. In here as much as you want until you like how it looks, right? It's all about you liking it. Then, for the last bit, same amount of liquid white out here, very small. You can always go back and add more, right? Start flicking it into our sand, and the more little white specks that you can flick into this sand, right? We're staying away from the rocks. There we go. Into the sand. You can get them into this area because it looks like pebbles or different things, but doesn't that look like sand, you guys? That's amazing. That is quite honestly amazing. Still with 2.5 minutes left. What else could we do in 2.5 minutes? That's my question. I guess we gotta sign the thing and do the outro with 2.5 minutes left. Woo! Look at that, dude. Okay, now let's come back in. Like I said, we're gonna put our signature on there. And the signature of old Paint with Josh are these 3 birds out in the sky. Everybody knows them. I know. You guys yell at me if I forget to put them in there. Come out here like this and just go, caw-caw. That's flying through the sky. Make sure none of them are the same bit of flappiness. At least I try not to make them all look the same. And then we'll come back in with our liquid white. And in just 24 minutes, my friends, with maybe 1 minute of setup at the beginning, we're gonna have a really cool little tutorial. I can't wait for your guys' versions of this painting. So everybody over on YouTube, you guys have been amazing. We are gonna finish it over on TikTok. Finish it meaning name it and sit around and talk for a few minutes. But beyond that, I can't wait to see your guys' versions of this painting. And you gotta send them in to me, Paint with Josh on YouTube, right? Obviously can't say anything there, but official Paint with Josh on Facebook and Paint with Josh K on Instagram. And like I said, guys, that is a beauty right there. Literally 23 minutes, even with all these extra added touches, 23 minutes. That's fantabulous. There we go. That's what I didn't like. There, okay. So, everybody over on YouTube, I can't wait to see your versions of this painting. Send them in to official Paint with Josh on Facebook or Paint with Josh K on Instagram. You can always contact us via the website, send them in by email. And until I see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day. And blah, blah. Blah. Oh, I made the sound. I always make the sound.